The joys of youth. As we get back together on this week's video, we're going to talk about the financial planning simplified process and specifically the first 2 decades of adult life, we'll call it 20s and 30s, and what we call here at HMFP the planting stage. Ian Maddox, Hitchcock Maddox Financial Partners, and this is the Financial Planning Simplified video series, continuing from our introductory video a couple of weeks back. So let's talk about a couple of things. The setup, some pitfalls that potentially face every 20 or 30 something, and some opportunities. So the setup is this: you've been in school, whether that's high school, maybe moving on to college or trade school, you're kind of launching off into your adult life, you're establishing a career, you have perhaps more money, you're getting your own paycheck, and then we may transition towards the later end of that or middle of that. You're establishing a relationship, a spouse perhaps, kids, maybe buying a house. So there's some decisions and some benchmarks that are happening here. What are some potential pitfalls, some things that I want to point out to you? Here, let's go through a couple of things here as a list. First of all, potential pitfalls, fun before settling down, right? This is kind of a double-edged sword. Do I suggest you don't have fun? No, of course not. If you've gotten out of school and you're establishing a career and you want to experience some things now that you have freedom, sure, go for it. Just be aware that too much fun without a plan can lead towards some negative patterns, some negative cycles that are hard to unwind, okay? So that's the first pitfall. Keeping up with the Joneses, and this is one of the negative pitfalls, one of the negative cycles, is that it's very simple. This generation now is, a lot of times looking at Instagram, social media, TikTok, hey, my friend's going here, my friend's doing this, they're at this restaurant, they had this experience, and I want to do that too. I want to do that. And it's very easy to separate a man or a woman from their money, okay? It's real quick, it really quickly happens, and that idea of social influence can impact that big time. So it's something to be aware of. Not establishing a budget or a plan, all right? This is super easy. You're just busy, you're having fun, you're doing your thing, and you don't establish a plan. You don't have any type of budget. And I'll also say this: easy money or credit is not your friend. It is a tool. It can be used, but you must be responsible with it. If I had a scale and I put the people that use it inappropriately on one side versus those that use it appropriately, this one outweighs a lot. So those are potential pitfalls that you need to be aware of. Now, what are some things that we do to solve for this? What are some opportunities that we have in this phase? First of all, budgeting. Now, this can get very complicated. I don't want it to be that. There are a lot of apps you can download that can simplify it for you, but if you'll just start with this one simple mentality: margin. Margin, margin, margin. I'll say it 20 times. If you will just simply say, hey, I graduated from trade school, I graduated from high school, I graduated from college, I've got my first job, I am now collecting a paycheck, I've got a salary. Commit yourself from day one to live on less than what you take home. I don't know what that percentage is, maybe 90%, maybe 80%, and start to slide that money into a savings account, okay? We're not going to get into the different ways to do that. You can do it through work, you can do it on your own, but begin from the beginning to live on less than you make, and it will do wonders for you, okay? Second one, because of that, time is on your side. We've probably heard this before. It can be a little cliche. Compound interest is amazing. So by simply taking small amounts of money today and deferring it to the future in some type of investment vehicle, you can take small things and make them very big with time on your side. Secondly, early decisions are much easier. Sacrifice today in small amounts is much easier than unwinding a pattern of bad decisions 20 or 30 years down the road. Much more painful. So it makes sense to establish the pattern today. Lastly, don't forget to mitigate risk. So when you first get out of school, you don't have a lot of risk, you don't have a lot of obligations, hopefully. You might have some student loans or something to that effect. But you may collect some obligations, a car loan, a mortgage. You may have kids. This is where insurance comes into play. The purpose of this video is not that, but it is to say that you should address it. Next week, we'll transition and talk about the next phase, which is the growing phase, those in their 40s or 50s. But this is the things that I wanted to point out for this generation, for those 20s and 30s that are planting. If we can be of help and answer any questions, reach out. Ian Maddox, HMFP.